imagine you get sick in, say, 1870. What were some of your options for how you get medicated? Where did you get your medicine?
A general store.
Okay, you could go to the general store. Well, you could still go to a chemist, which was kind of our word for pharmacy before. It was after apothecary and before pharmacist was chemist. Okay, you could go to. I'm sorry. Yes.
Well, I was going to say
Yeah, that was the old phrase, but they kind of moved the word chemist. But you're right. Apothecary was the old phrase. That's absolutely right. Then you could go to a doctor, though the doctor would, I mean, most of these things you didn't need prescriptions for, per se. Midwives sometimes had traditional medicines available. And then there was this entire industry called the patent medicine industry. And that's where you could go to the general dry goods store where you could have, and there were patent medicine guys who came around on their carts and wagons to sell you the most recent of Dr. Good's miracle elixir, okay? And old Dr. Good's, this elixir, made of only the finest rare ingredients hidden from secrets of the East, okay? That would do everything from grow your hair to increase your virility, which is say make your penis bigger, to clear up your acne, to go ahead and let you sleep at night, to be vigorous and energetic during the day. That would go ahead and get rid of your rheumatism, would make you younger, would do this, would do that. Great. All this stuff. Except, okay, little thing. These elixirs, this is where we get the phrase snake oil salesman from. Have you ever heard that phrase, a snake oil salesman? What does that mean, a snake oil salesman?
Con artist?
Yeah, con artist, okay. Why? Why is that a con? Because you see, one of the things that they said these had all natural ingredients, often they would say animal byproducts. One of the products they claimed was in it was snake oil. Okay, the reason was that when you handle snakes, they feel slick. One problem, snakes don't exude oil. Okay, there is no such thing as snake oil. Okay, it does not exist. The feeling of the scales might feel slick, but they don't exude oil. And so the very fact that one of the ingredients that was also listed was snake oil, it's a way of saying con artist because they were claiming there was something in there that didn't exist. Okay, there were things that were in there that were pretty bizarre. Animal parts, cow urine, all sorts of good things in your tincture. Okay, but there were two main ingredients in these patent medicines, two things that would fix every person's problem. What were these two things?
Chipmunk.
No, not chipmunk, though that's fun. Huh? No. I love the idea of chipmunks just like sorry. Ground chipmunk. Yes, I'll have me some Alvin. Anyway. It's been a long day already. There are two things: alcohol and opium. Okay. Now, this didn't really usually fix your problem, but after a couple of shots of it, you didn't fucking care. Okay. And this patent medicine industry was particularly designed to take advantage of the idea that people would self-medicate. People got sick, people died from this shit. And realize, when I say alcohol, realize some of this wasn't even ethyl alcohol. Some of it was methyl alcohol, which was poisoning and killing people. Some of it, I mean, like wood grain near alcohol was the ethyl stuff too. I mean, this is bad, bad, bad stuff, okay? And of course, some of the other ingredients in it could make you sick as well, besides just the fact it was a drug that was being administered. They particularly preyed on women. Women were considered very vulnerable, in part because frequently, whenever societal changes happen, women's roles change. Rather than saying that women can be independent or strong or do other things, instead we decide whenever women begin to get new rights, clearly they have a medical condition and they need to be medicated. Okay. Laurel Thatcher Ulrich is famous for saying that well-behaved women rarely make history. However, well-behaved women also rarely get as much medication. The thing is that they were, and this is by the way true. In the 1960s and 70s, when the women's liberation movement was big, women were being tossed in different directions as to what their roles in the family and home and workplace were and all this. And it's in the middle of that a lot of women were feeling very stressed. Well, doctors began to overprescribe to fix women's stress, particularly married women. And there was a drug, a miracle drug, that became so well prescribed it became known as Mother's Little Helper. And what was Mother's Little Helper?
Meth.
Huh? I thought I heard
Coke?
What?
Crystal meth.
No, not crystal. No, that's very new.
Valium.
Valium, yeah, nothing so. No, crystal meth. It's a how's Mother being helped? She's on the ceiling. You know, she's been cleaning all night. No, it was Valium. It was, and this was the prescription pill addiction of choice of the
Stones made a
time.
song about it.
Yeah, and it was yeah. That's right. Somebody said there's a song about Mother's
Go
Little
run
Helper.
to the shelter of your mother's little helper.
Okay, I don't know it, but okay.
Rolling Stones.
Rolling Stones, they said, is that right? Okay, so whatever. But anyway, they didn't say, so there's that. And then in the 1980s, apparently we were all fucking depressed in the 80s, okay? I don't know, maybe it was because Different Strokes was on TV, I don't know. Or we were sad that the A-Team got canceled, I have no idea. But anyway, because of that, we all got depressed, and by the 80s and 90s, what were we supposed to have to take to make ourselves happy again? Prozac Nation. Fix that problem. Little Valium, a little Prozac. And then, of course, now even today, we have another over thing that again, there's kind of a flashback because we say a lot of kids have ADD, or what's the new phrase? ADHD. I never can remember. I always get distracted really easily. See what I did there? Okay. But while there are people that have ADD, there's also a lot of kids are overdiagnosed, right, and overmedicated, and so now there's arguments about we'll just pop some Ritalin, that'll fix it. Okay, that it's and so there's now papers on that. So this idea of let's medicate, that this is a problem, has become a huge deal, and so there it is. And so here we go way to the back. Okay, so here we have these patent medicines, right, which are opium and alcohol. That'll solve your problems, right? Okay, and there was a completely, unlike these other problems. I mean, people obviously, people had ADD, people had stress that caused them to be depressed. There was clinical depression. Clearly, that still exists. As we might see from some stars, right? They get clinically depressed. We've seen people who have had, obviously women have been very stressed in home life, and that there's uses for Valium that are real. But there are some diseases that aren't real at all. And one of the most famous ones was one that was diagnosed for women in the 19th century. And that one was hysteria. And this was a favorite thing, and this tells us a lot about the society at the time. Okay, and this is going to require a bit of a discussion. This requires us to be adult, to talk about matters sexual, okay, and be very, very adult, which means that you all are going to fail, but okay, we'll try. So here's the deal, okay. I even have some slides. Okay. That's right. Because whenever you say I'm going to get hysterical, the lights go down. Turn down the lights. Put us in the mood. You all disturb me. Okay, thanks. I'm just trying to figure out how many years to retirement, that's all. Anyway, okay. So here's the deal. Hysteria, okay, so in the 19th century, in the Victorian age, women, biologically, we said, could not enjoy sex. They were biologically incapable of enjoying anything sexual. Men were ravening beasts who basically fucked everything. Okay? Indeed, before marriage, what were men supposed to do? No, before marriage.
A bachelor party.
Yeah, you're supposed to basically get it out of your system. You're supposed to sow your wild oats. If a young man didn't have experience, then he would most likely cheat on his marriage because he's a dog. He has to do it, okay? Now, women were, of course, ironically, women, of course, are supposed to be virginal. If they had had sex before marriage, they would be ruined. Which, of course, begs the question as to whom these young men were having sex with, okay? If women weren't supposed to be having sex and men were supposed to be having lots of sex, there's only so many pairings you can have there, okay? But whatever, okay? But the thing was that because of this, women were said to be biologically incapable of enjoying sexual matters. For them, it was something to be endured. Queen Victoria supposedly said it. She didn't, but it became a popular phrase and it went there. When people supposedly asked Queen Victoria